So what we've done is we've covered now every surface of the instrument, and a couple things I wanted to point out that I didn't discuss, or I did but not well enough in the last video. And one is when you're doing you want to make sure that you're getting varnish on the edges. And let's say you're doing your ribs, then you want to when you have the moment where you have like less varnish, then you go ahead and do the edge, because you don't want to do it this way, because then you can make this puddle. So but it's actually okay that if some of these edges become black randomly, because what I'm going to do is I'm going to remove varnish in the areas that have human contact, right? So now and I've removed some of the patina, and another thing I've done that's important is I've added some varnish on the rosette, because I don't want this to turn black, this plum, you know. So what we're going to do is we're going to do 2 patina stages, and the willow, you can see the willow is already kind of brown. So our aim is to get everything brown, right? But I don't want to do the same color treatment on the top and the ribs as on the willow, because it's already brown. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with the ribs. And again, there are a lot of tool marks. I noticed I had some a couple ghosts going on. But the good thing about this technique is that if you have glue ghosts, it will pretty much hide them, you know. And they're really minor. You can barely see them, so I'm okay with that. So just like before, we start with a puddle.
Can you explain what these are, like ghosts?
Ghosting, yeah. Okay, you need to read Roger Hargrave. Again, read the literature.
How they appear and how you make them go away?
Yeah, glue ghost is when you have traces of glue on the wood, and you don't notice it until you start varnishing, and then the varnish will not penetrate the wood because you have glue there. So yeah, you gotta wash your ribs really well, you know. So but like I say, that's the advantage to this technique, is that it's gonna hide your ghosts. So I'll start with a pretty healthy puddle of lavender oil from Hammerl in Deutschland. Okay, so because the instrument we're going for brown, but because the instrument is kind of red as well, it's a sort of red-brown, then I'm going to, last time I used ivory black, I'm not going to use that at all. So what we're going to do is we're going to start with just a drop of yellow, because we want it to have life. We want it to glow. So every phase of your varnish, you're moving towards where you want to go, right? We want to go brown, yellow, and then red-brown. But you want to be careful that you don't do too much red or too much yellow, because what do red and yellow make? Orange, that's right. You'll have the orange demon. You don't want the orange demon. So I've just got just a drop of yellow. That looks pretty, that may be a little too much. If it's a little, we'll see. A little too much, I can add some lavender oil, because I'll be doing the ribs and the top, and then I'll be doing the willow back separately, diluted, because it's already, and this can be really tricky and touchy, really difficult. So now I'm going to take magnesium oxide, which is rust, That may be a little bit too much. And I'm going to let's blend that together. So yeah, this is, you can see, this is a pretty nice red brown when it's highly concentrated, but it's a little bit orangish. So perhaps I had too much yellow, not sure. So the way I
It's very rusty.
what?
Very rusty that looks.
Yeah, that's good. It's actually kind of the color of the instrument. But again, we're just doing patina. And we're going to do our patina. A good way to test it is to put it on a white like that, and you can kind of see the.
Yeah.
You can kind of see. It gives you a sort of general idea. So I can tell you right now, this is not enough anyway, so that's good. I'm going to dilute this with lavender oil. And then, so that'll take away some of the yellow. And then I'm going to add bitumen. Bitumen is, the best would be mummy. So this, but unfortunately, so you see the bitumen is much darker.
Sure.
Mm-hmm. So that's going to make my slurry, I don't know if I made this word up, or a slurry, you know. That's going to make it a little bit darker. And these big chunks don't really have to be mixed in so much. Because you're going to rub it all in anyway. So let's just see what that looks like. That looks like a pretty decent brown. So the viscosity and saturation of color is something that you're going to have to kind of do intuitively and through many years of knowledge. You know, how much color should go on, how diluted it should be. Yeah, so now it's darker. I can see on my paper towel that it's darker. Actually, to me, just intuition, it says that this is still a little too thick. I'm going to thin that. Right. So let's just see what that looks like. And the wood is different from a paper towel. Mm-hmm. Right, so that is kind of the what I want, but it's a little too thin, so. And a little too red-brown. I'm not sure how to, you're just going to have to do this with experience, you know.
I see it, yeah.
One reason I went with black is because the wood itself had kind of some cool stuff is happening in the ribs. You're getting these kind of colorations where the wood itself has uneven hues. It's poplar, And then you had this here, I don't know if you saw photos on Facebook, but you had this like discoloration and stuff, and I thought that was just cool. This
Yeah, I
is
saw the raw wood.
yeah, it's just funky. I love it, there's nothing wrong with that. There's actually a knot on the neck. I asked the musician, does this bother you? And he's like, no, I love knots, Can you see that? Anyway, you'll see it you'll see it when we do I'm also going to antique the neck. So let's just do a test on the top.
Oh, that looks good.
Yeah, that's kind of what I want. Now, if you can see the difference between this and this one is a little bit orangish. Orangey, is that a word?
Yeah, it's kind of like almost similar, yeah.
And I got like solid chunks of bitumen in here, so I'm gonna roll with this because that looks, you know what, it's a little bit orangey. So I'm gonna put a little bit more bitumen in. And actually, the thicker that it is, it's less of a stain and more, you can kind of wipe it off easier because I don't know how to explain that. So we got these nice, this is really kind of looking good to me. Yeah. If it's too dark, yeah, so that's, you can see it's a little bit darker. This is the color of a barn. The color of a 300-year-old barn, as Thomas Kreutzer used to say. Let's roll. Again, like, you're going to have the sum total of everything because what you're doing is you're going to rub it all together. So, and your hands will look beautiful,
Like you've been in the sun.
Yeah, I should really crack the window because the lavender oil fumes are can be kind of toxic, I think.
Really? Lavender?
Yeah, when you get okay, that's a good topic. You can get different qualities of lavender oil, and I think the ones that you get from Hammerl, and I ordered them from this sort of like bio German company. They sold organic pollen and sort of natural products. And I think even that stuff wasn't pure. So there may be some sort of turpentine and ersatz, or I don't know. But either I've developed just a high tolerance to it, or, I'm so pickled on the inside from living in New Orleans for so many years, so that chemicals don't really affect me, No, but also it's so damn noisy outside,
Okay.
So yeah, you're just applying it. It doesn't really have to be so even, but you'll see where when I remove it, you'll see where the areas that were less burnished will soak up more color. And a lot of this is by design. When I'm doing the surface treatment of the top, I will have a plan, like down here I want the black lines in certain places, So I'm going to kind of avoid my rosette as much as I can, although it has a lot of varnish on it. And I also could carefully remove I just don't want that rosette to become black. I want it to be rich, bright, purple plum, you know, or its natural wood color. So I put a crap load.
Pop it out.
What's that?
You want it to pop out.
Yeah, yeah. So man, it's responding even more. I notice when I'm talking, it will respond to the bass frequencies of my, like certain words. It'll, you know. I guess that's a good thing. All right, let's just roll in. You can be a little less careful with. Yeah, you can see I have the fingerboard protected with paper. You don't want to get any varnish on the surface where you're going to glue the fingerboard, because you know, as with the ghosts, varnish and glue don't really go together, you know. So, and if you get some on it, it's not the end of the world, but So, right, so now we're gonna, let's sort of try and remove that.
Oh no, that's good, man.
Actually, this particular color is looking kind of cool on the rosette. You would just never want to do like ivory black on your raw wood anywhere, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Yeah, so thankfully it is cloudy today. I've been praying to the Galician gods not for the sun not to come out. So let's think a minute. We want to look at that. I'd like for this to be a little bit more dramatic. So just gonna take my finger in the slurry and kind of, or take my brush. I want these lines to pop out a little bit more because like I explained, oops, it's like dribbled down. You may think something is like really dramatic. And you may think, oh, I have a lot of shadows, you know, it's going to look great. And then by the time you get to the end, it's not as dramatic. So basically, this is almost just raw bitumen. And you can see that's like a killer brown, actually. So let's just do that. All right. Yeah, I'm going to avoid the rosette. Yeah, so if I really like these dark lines, so I'm gonna rub in the bitumen. What happened to the
Yeah,
music?
I was thinking, I thought it wouldn't be a good idea at first, but now it looks like one of your instruments. It's,
Yeah, you know what? I really like the tool marks here, so I'm gonna put some bitumen right there, and I'm gonna just push it into the grain.
yeah,
I mean, it takes a while, but eventually you get. I put it in seemingly random spots, but
yeah, I get it. I mean, yeah, that's
yeah. Again, I really like this the lines here. Yeah, so you're just spreading it, moving it around until eventually you kind of get the sum total. I don't like these marks, so I'm leaving less. Right now the edge is touching the bench and making random scratches and scars. That's good. Okay, let's take a look at that. You want to use a sort of heavy-duty paper towel that's not going to shed any kind of fibers. So the kind of industrial paper towels, you know, are the best. And when you feel it starting to break down, you know, fold it and use a different part of the surface. But so again, if you don't like this, you can remove it all with alcohol. And that's good. Alcohol is good. Alcohol and lavender oil are good for the wood. So I'll point out also that if you're using pigments, they actually have chalk inside them. So what see how that's really popping out. I like that.
what's that? What do they have inside it?
They have chalk inside it. So it's very important to use transparent pigments. If you look on the tube, it says transparent oxide brown. It has to be transparent, and no matter what, you're going to cover some of the grain, some of the inherent characteristics of the wood. So but I'm willing to make that sacrifice, and you know, and like I say, I learned varnish from for a forger. So okay, now just stand back and look at it, and you want to really think, you know, think about what looks real and what looks fake. And here you got some. Okay, yeah, that's my plum is still My rosette is still fine. Yeah, so take a break. What happened to the music? I was listening to Rosenberg. No, sorry, Rameau slowed. Yeah, think about what you want to keep at this stage and what you want to toss, because you're going to let this dry. Probably we're going to let this dry overnight. Okay, so you can blow nicotine vape onto it as well if you want. All right, so I'm looking at this and I really don't like this area by the sound hole.
The sound should change to rock. It's weird now.
Yeah, hold on a second. The battery is gonna die on.
Did you stop the video?
No, I think, yeah, I have to turn off the music anyway. I was wanting to hear, I like to hear music when I'm varnishing, but somehow we're having some technical difficulties. Can you hear me now?
Now it's better.
Okay, yeah, I don't like this area here. Do you see this, like, spot of color? I don't like that. I like the shadows here. This I don't like very much. But again, like I say, it's going to be less dramatic. And you have plenty of time. You can, you can ingest a lot of nicotine and coffee before you know. I'm pretty happy with this as a general patina. You still see the Haselfichte ding, the bear claws there, so that's good. In fact, it may not. It does. If you have really strongly flamed, beautifully figured maple, it's going to be hard to. You wouldn't want to do this in the beginning. You want to do your antiquing at the end, Because at the very end, we're going to add Jose's varnish, which is the best varnish in the world. This is oil, and it's just a clear. And this is like honey, like thicker. Well, about the consistency of honey, a little bit thinner. Well, you don't need to see it. We're not even close to being at that stage. All right, let's roll on the ribs because I'm pretty happy with this general process, Where's Diego? We don't hear him. We don't hear him. Oh. Spricht. He's shy. Yeah, I'll go ahead and like stain my God, I can't speak English. My rib miters. The parts where the ribs join.
Okay.
That's when you're making the instrument. You make a miter. I'll show you when we're gonna do a video on working without a mold. Yeah. So here, as I'm doing this, I want to get a lot of color into this area where the ribs meet the back. And make sure that that's nice and saturated. So I can just do that first. I do that first. There's going to be a lot of tool marks on these ribs. I'm cool with that. I like tool marks. What I don't like are ugly tool marks. On the ribs, you can't really see it. You have some folding, and that's when you're bending the ribs. If the wood is like really thick, the wood will actually kind of create these fold marks. Folding, I call it. I don't know what it's really called. And I'm fine with that. And the reason for going thick on the ribs is to avoid cracks. Because what is the most common place for a cello to crack is right here, or when the cellist hits the bow frog against it. And okay, here you have some folding. I'm fine with that, and I'm sure that the musician is too, because I explained to him already my ribs are thick, and on the inside I have antique parchment glued. Because I do not want this instrument ever to go to the violin workshop for repairs. And the reason for that is the most dangerous place for a musical instrument is the violin maker's workshop, believe it or not. You would think that'd be the safest place, right? But no, because go on YouTube and search violin making, repair, or better yet, repair, how to open a top. And you'll see guys hitting them with hammers. And I mean, I was shocked. I was like, whoa. So people do some crazy stuff to musical instruments. There's a great Facebook page called Instrument Carnage, where that people, luthiers post these crazy photos of I think Ben Hedbert started it, I'm not sure, of just these crazy repairs. So I don't want any cracks. I don't want anyone 50 years from now opening up this instrument to do their improvements, Oh, we're going to thin the top, because this is the not only are the ribs thick, the top is also thick. I have probably around 5'7" at the sound post. And on Willow is a lot softer, so I actually have around 6'2". What happened?
It makes new documents. Don't one after the other. This is the end.
Yeah, so I did my. I want to saturate the edges and get them. I want it to. That's where dirt collects. Dirt collects on antique instruments. In the crevices and cracks and. So, is it Diego? Hey, we should put a photo of him in this video, like. Should put a photo of Diego so the people who are watching can he can be like a star,
Maybe I'll make his own Facebook website.
Yeah, the video will go viral because of Diego's fame. Yeah, at first I didn't like him because he tried to bite me. Until I heard his story, and what he was abandoned and abused, and I mean, of course he's a nut job, imagine if you were abandoned and abused, you would be a damn nut job too. You would want to bite humans, The animal bites the animal bites the color of the shoe that beats it, Oh my God, the blue shoe! Here comes the blue shoe! Okay, so same thing. We had the same pigment on the see, you got these really nice tooth plane marks on the ribs, which I really like. Okay, so you remember, I don't know if you could have seen, but I had some ghosts here. I don't see any ghosts now.
I can't see that well.
Ah, yeah, because the the what's up?
It's just pixely.
Yeah, it's pixely. Yeah, well, you can watch the YouTube video. In the meanwhile, you can make some photos of Diego for us to put. Well, you can, I don't know if you can, if your microphone is picking it up, but it's actually reacting to the paper towel touching it. That is a good thing. So you got all these like random scars and this I'm pretty happy with this general color. I'm probably not gonna rub the raw bitumen on it like I did on the top, because this surface is actually really really rough. I mean, I could, it would just be really dramatic. And you can always do that at the end. Again, we're doing patina in the beginning and we're doing patina in the end, after the oil varnish. Just like Hargrave, the exact technique that he uses on his oil varnish. It's just, I'm not starting with oil because I don't believe that putting resin or sealing the wood with plaster is a good idea. Although Jose does it and his violins sound amazing. They respond well, they sound amazing. I think maybe people probably get into too much trouble when they use too much varnish, or they use an oil varnish with a too much resin in it, or I don't know. Yeah, see, I don't know, can you see the folds? You can't see. Oh, okay, so now look, you can see that my ribs are not the same color as the back, but we're getting there. The main thing is, it's really hard when you're working with pear or, brown wood. We have a ghost going on here. It's very faint though, very faint. Oh, and this is cool. You have this just like rough area where the okay. Yeah, you'll be careful not to touch the top because you can wipe away the patina. I'm pretty happy with that. So if I see anything that I like as far as tool marks, then I can rub patina more color in and to keep that. That's awesome. What is he doing? Howling. He has existential angst, you know. Alright, so this is perfect, man. I have like just enough, like, I'm gonna thin this like a lot. And because I don't want to apply the same amount of color to as I did the top, really.
Yeah, it's already been.
Yeah. So I've thinned it. do a little test. Actually, Bronco, is it going to bother you if I open the blind up more?
No, no, no.
No, okay.
Not at all. It's in the afternoon,
Yeah,
Like
if the sun comes, we basically have to stop. All right, now we can see a little better. How long is this video? Oh, it's only 40 minutes. So, all right, willow sucks color. It's just, willow is really, okay. So I'm looking and comparing. Yeah, now on hindsight, I could have gone a little thicker. I'm thinking that even though so I'm going to dissolve some of these solid pieces of or chunks of bitumen and because yeah, that's more like it. Still though, it needs something. So I still have a lot of opportunity for changes, you know. Yeah, now I'm thinking it's just kind of a little too bland everywhere, but I guess it's okay for just the patina. It's just the thing that while I'm silent and contemplating, is that what can happen when you're using this method is that your wood becomes saturated with color and you can't add any more. I mean, you can add oil, but you haven't gotten to where you want to go yet, but the wood is full. So when you use this technique, it makes a mudslide. So I'm going to take a risk and kind of add a little bit of magnesium oxide. And that's going to be a little too intense, so let's try that. Yeah, that's more what I want. Because I want a dramatic effect, and yeah, it's still going to be different from this. Let's roll with that because it looks good, and I'm going to have to make it up. So when I do my actual glazing, I'm just going to put more red into the top and the ribs. So the good thing is if you screw up, you can remove all this, you know? Yeah, you know what? I'm seriously considering not putting raw bitumen, but kind of a blend of magnesium and bitumen together. Because the tool marks just aren't really popping out very much. And I would not want all of this like scars. And I mean, again, you can do that at the end, but I love these little knots in the... Willow is my favorite wood to work with, especially for bass instruments. If you look on my website, they're like all willow. I talk the customers into it because they sound amazing. They're light. You know, it's a lighter wood. It gives you these nice creamy trebles. There's nothing worse than this like laser dick cello sound. You know, this penetrating laser that's like and you're just, stop. I don't know. You also notice I don't make modern cellos. You can try to talk me into it, but it's not going to be easy because I don't like the way they sound, you know. No, I like the way some cellists play modern, so I should say that the modern cello, and anyway, this is more of a violone or than a cello. Well, it's both because there really was no distinction between continuo instrument was just a continuo instrument, you know. So yeah, I'm really, actually, I'm not happy with this, man. There's not a lot of contrast and shadows and stuff. I'm not happy with this. I'm happy with the top. So I've got a spot here where there's no color at all.
Would you mind having a couple of windows just open, just so,
Yeah,
so the air changes a bit?
Yeah, open the window.
I'll open this one here just a bit.
Yeah, I'm immune to the fumes, you know. Other people have walked in.
Because we will get high, you know.
Yeah, other people will walk in and they'll be like, and I'm like,
No,
what?
I like it, but I'm afraid of how high I'll make it.
You feeling high from lavender?
No, not yet.
I'm not happy with this at all. So I'm gonna stop and think, you know. Again, this is just my patina, but you always want to work towards your final color. So I think we're gonna stop, and I'm gonna think about how to fix this. It's not that I need to fix it, I want more contrast, you know? So, and the thing is, like,
So what are you gonna do?
I may remove everything and start over. It always looks better. I mean, it's a lot of work. It took me hours and hours to,
I mean, you need it underneath this orangey layer, huh?
Huh?
Contrast.
yeah.
Yeah, the rust wasn't such a good idea.
No, that's fine. It's just that the thing is with this technique that everything that you do affects, well, with any varnish, I'm happy with the color, I'm just not happy with the contrast. Everything that you do in the beginning is going to affect everything you do after, because you're adding layer upon layer, and your first layers are going to affect your second layers. What we do now absolutely affects the final oil varnish when we're doing oil at the very end. Yeah, nicotine and lavender oil. Woohoo! All right, before we just write this off. Oh. I'm gonna try some sort of hot rodding and actually that's a little better. Wow, it's a tough call. Actually, I kind of like the look of that now that I've removed. It's just, you really see a difference of red on the ribs. So what I'm going to do is keep this same slurry, and I'm going to go redder on the oxide. That won't be enough, obviously, so. Again, we're gonna do, what we're trying to do is brown, patina, brown, yellow, and then red-brown. That's what we're after. So this is our strategic plan. So I just put a crap load of magnesium oxide and a splash of bitumen. You can push your darker color up towards the top and sort of blend it in. The one thing I do is I make a line here so it doesn't drip down as much. And then, right, so I'm mixing. This, right now, what I have is actually the final color that I want. I'm seeing it on the plate. That is exactly what I want. So let's roll with that. Let's try it here, below the tailpiece, right? That's a little extreme. It's a little orangey. So I'm going to add some more bitumen. Yeah. A little bit more. Actually, my original instinct was probably correct. Oh, yeah. Yeah, you're just going to have to learn this through intuition if you're, not intuition, but experience, you know. And you're going to have to remove your varnishes, you know. I'll say maybe one in every 20 instruments that I make. That's what I want. That's exactly what I want. Let's roll with that. A little too orange. Yeah. Yeah, because you just can't do yellow upon white. You're gonna get a pineapple or a banana, you know.
Yeah. Looks like a dark copper color, man.
Mm-hmm. It's pretty close to the color that I want. The thing is, if it's too orange, this is looking too orange, then when you add yellow, you're going to get the orange demon. So I'm going to add more bitumen. That's much darker. And again, when we rub it all together, we're kind of going to get this the sum total of everything that I've added here. So like all my edges are getting random, the edges are pretty much getting randomly stained. I'm not really paying attention to whether or not the color is hitting them, because like I say, I'm going to remove all that. Right, so we have the sum total of so this should be closer to my willow when I flip it around. It's a little orangey. Right? Yeah, I'm happier with that now. Still kind of lacks that pop, you know? But the hue itself is looking better. So I'm looking at the camera on the iPod, and you can't really see the color so well. So, all right, so let's roll on the ribs with that. Yeah, you could do this all day long if you want. The more times you do this and remove it, the better it's going to look, actually. Just you don't choke to death from the fumes. Yeah, remember what Kreutzer said. It should look like the side of an old barn. This old, dirty, scarred. I got a lot of crazy stuff going on here that I actually like, so I'm going to put color in there. Again, I've stained my rib miters again. You can spend a lot of time doing perfect rib miters, but anything that doesn't affect the tone, I really do not care about it, you know? Like when we start doing the videos for purfling and stuff, if it doesn't affect the sound, I'm not interested. I'd rather spend my time doing experiments and cutting extra bridges and working on the setup, and you know, you can, like I say, you could spend all day on, for sure you could spend days and days adding and removing. But these rib miters are okay, they're fine. It's just not something that I care about, you know. Oh, we need more color here. God, I love this there where you know when you thin your ribs, you have to use a tooth plane. I think that wasn't on your tool list, but
No, it wasn't, but you told me afterwards.
yeah, you can get the tooth plane later. Yeah, so I guess what's going on is I'm closer to the hue of the willow, but I don't have a lot of contrast and shadows in the willow, right? So I'm being cautious not to do too much color on the willow, but you can always do that later. You can add more shadows later, you know, safely. And when you're doing this, you're looking for hairs or hair is your biggest enemy when you're varnishing. Dust is not really a big deal until you're at the layer of doing oil. When they
Especially with the dog, I think I have to remove.
Oh, well, a couple dog hairs are you know.
Diego is fine. No, I think I have to remove Diego from the workshop.
You could just vacuum clean and be really careful. And there are a lot of violin makers with pets in their workshops. Like the cat is sitting, certainly not while they're varnishing, but. Remember in Vienna, I had a mouse, Joey.
Yeah.
And then Tara actually took him. Because I was doing that, I would rescue mice from the snake pet store, you know, and let them loose in the Wienerwald, you know. Because I figure, isn't it better to, I don't know, like, at least they have a chance, you know. Like, with the snake, they're just getting dropped in the cage, and they really have no chance, but maybe. And I think Tara said something like, well, it's just gonna get eaten by a hawk. I was like, yeah, but at least it has, like, it can run, like, it could hide in the grass, you know, so.
Yeah.
Yeah, so, I mean, in theory, it has a chance.
Yeah, in theory, yeah.
Okay, yeah, I'm a lot happier with this, actually. So, we got some little fusel-dings. But yeah, I also have to do the scroll. But I think we're going to stop now because this is already an hour. And I'm just trying to teach you the general concept of oh, it looks like the sun is coming.
Yeah, perfect time to stop.
Verdammt. Durch. Du tippet du.
Sun's out over here as well.
Ah, it was snowing before, and now you have sun.
It's blue skies now, not a cloud on the sky.
Oh, yeah.
That's weird, yeah.
Yeah. Okay, so I'm happier with this, actually. I'm gonna have to make... we got fingerprints going on here. I'm gonna have to make more contrast in the back later, I think. But they're pretty close. It's just really hard to take something that's white and red and pink and make them together, and you know. Also, I need to stop because I'm sort of getting kind of woozy from the fumes. And so quickly, I want to just look for hairs. So I'll come back when the sun goes away. The sun is out now. There's Washlo. Quickly look for any hairs or anything. I got patina in the fold here. I actually like that. Hopefully Kieran likes it. But, it's the thing. He knows that the ribs are thick. And it's really hard to bend wood when it's thicker. And so a lot of makers will make their ribs really thin, you know, to make it easier, their lives easier. But like I say, I want this instrument to survive for 500 years or more, you know. I don't want some loser thinking, oh, I'm going to take it apart and thin the top. One thing I forgot to do is to stain the inside. I did a little bit yesterday, but all right, yeah. So that's it for now, and I'm gonna have to do the scroll when the friggin' sun goes away. And that's been a curse of yeah. So now clean your brushes. Good thing to remember. I'll leave this one sitting in alcohol because, no, actually I'm going to wash it. Okay, so we're done for now. One thing you can do, if you have a lot of slurry left over, is I got all these jars. These are great. If you get them at the China shop, you can kind of collect your slurry and put it in and save it, you know, and then you can use that to retouch something because you have this exact patina or that exact color. So I'm pretty happy with this, actually. It's not too red, but it kind of matches the willow. So we're gonna stop. Continue again tomorrow. Yeah.